True.
If you speak from the heart, people will connect you from the heart.
Yeah, true.
If you speak from the mouth, people will connect you from the mouth.
Yeah.
And if you speak from the mind, people only connect with you from the mind.
Yeah, true. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Growth Conversation podcast. If you're listening on our if you're watching our YouTube video, welcome. If you're listening on our podcast, welcome as well. So my name is Lyndah and I'm here with my co-host Gabriel Mungai.
Yes, and as always, we like to thank you very much for tuning in always, for watching, for subscribing, and for those of you who are leaving us comments, thank you very much. Remember to share this video so that we can share also the information.
Yeah, keep on commenting, leaving your reviews. It really motivates us to continue doing whatever you are doing. So it also brings that sense of satisfaction to us, and it encourages us to do more of the videos.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So today's topic, we're talking about
the art of communication.
Why are we talking about communication?
Well, to lay a foundation is that you can have a lot to say. You can have a lot that you want happen, but if you don't know how to articulate that, then the whole situation becomes impossible. And therefore, learning the art of communication is key to anything that you're going to succeed in. All round, in relationships, in management, in families, in churches, all over. Communication is key. So we are going to talk largely about oral communication. And just to help us understand this, communication is just a way of relaying information. And making sure that the information gets understood. All right. So you can communicate in diverse ways. And how you relay that information is the key of this episode.
Exactly.
Is what we are trying to talk about. How you relay the information.
True.
And communication, just to maybe to add one more point, it has two aspects. It has the art, the how, and it has the heart, the feeling besides the communication. Behind the communication, there is the heart that drives you to talk, say something. All right, so those are the two aspects we are really going to talk about.
And they're just talking about communication because we believe that communication is the basis of everything. For you to have anything going on in your life, you need to have communication.
What differentiates us from animals is
it's communication.
Simply communication.
So I believe that communication touches so many things.
All aspects of life. All aspects
and as he said, today we're just focusing on the oral communication, how we communicate to each other, how we can feel and get the other person better.
And how we can build up to be able to communicate better from the way we have been before, and how we have relayed information before, how we can improve on that.
True. So I just want us to name some points where as I said earlier, things that we can do to improve our communication.
The first thing is that you must have something to talk about.
Right.
There's no communication if you're blank. Some of my friends, they just text me and say hello, and then I say hello, and then they say niambie. And then now they are the ones who started the conversation,
and they are
telling me to talk to them. I really don't have anything to say. So every time you initiate a conversation or you're trying to communicate, you must first have something to talk about. Stop that habit of calling someone and hello, how are you? Okay, talk to me. You should be the first one to come up with whatever you are talking about. So we start by making sure that you have something to talk about, right? Before you now go ahead to talk about it.
So I think that is the first point.
That's
how
the first
you can
point.
improve your communication.
Have something to talk about.
Before you start a conversation, think about what you want to talk about.
We are talking about the growth conversation.
The growth conversation.
It is because we have the conversation already in us.
About growth.
About growth. So we are coming out to share the conversation. But if we were blank, then we wouldn't have a conversation.
We wouldn't. So that is the first point. Know what you want to say before approaching somebody. The second one is to listen to understand. When you're talking to somebody, first of all, let me just say I was that person, because right now I'm different. So I'm that person where And I think it's most of the ladies, quote, most, not all, where we really have something to say already before we even listen to what the other person is saying.
Listen to reply.
Yeah.
And not listen to understand.
So for me, when somebody talks to me, like for example, if we argue, in my mind, I'm really processing on what I'm going to tell you next. You know, what I'm going to tell you, the bomb that I'm going to give you, so that I can win the conversation.
Yes.
And that is not the way it's supposed to be. When you're talking to somebody, listen and understand what that person is saying before you reply, where they're coming from. Yeah. Right? So when we argue most of the time, listen to the other party.
And then
understand what they are saying, so that you can think of what you're going to reply.
Before you can feedback.
Yeah.
And just to add on that point, because I myself personally have also struggled with this.
Yeah.
And you find that you are really focused on what you think yourself is correct.
Exactly.
And that is the only thing you want to impose on the other person, so that they know what you want, they understand what you feel, and you're not giving them an opportunity.
Yeah.
And what I like to say, the best way to correct this, I found out from my own struggle, is that you need to prepare.
Yeah, you need
to prepare before you communicate.
Yeah.
You see, for example, I want to come and tell you about a business proposal, all right? I myself think it's the best thing, all right? But it doesn't guarantee it's the best thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't guarantee it doesn't have questions.
Yeah.
Maybe you have a lot of questions about it. And therefore, I have to prepare my information.
Yeah.
And say maybe this is how I'm going to bring it to you.
Yes.
And these are going to be the points. Then I have to prepare it. I have to prepare the whole conversation, and also place a space for questions and a space for your feedback. So even as I come to you, I have a way I have ordered how I want the conversation to go. All right. So when you prepare for the conversation, it helps you remove that part of listening to reply, now to bring to listening to understand. Listening to understand, and also communicating to enable the other person to understand, because sometimes we just throw in the words. We are really not interested if they understand or they don't. And sometimes we just dropping the words and dropping what we feel, and you realize the other person is not there. Completely. They are not there.
And most of the time, people like that, even in just being friends, like the informal relationship, people like that tend to shout in their conversation.
Yes, they want to be heard.
They want to be heard.
Yes.
You know, they don't have that active listening. You know, because they want to be felt, they want to be heard what they are saying. So they tend to be loud. You know, so sometimes just being calm makes you want to listen better and understand the other person. So the other thing is having empathy.
Oh yes, maybe you can start by telling us what empathy is.
Empathy is being in a place where you can really feel what the other person is feeling, or you can try and understand where they're coming from, like putting yourself in their shoes. Associating yourself with what they feel. Exactly. And then trying to for communication, you have to put yourself in the other person's shoe. So if you are arguing, for example, somebody did something wrong to you, try to put yourself in their shoe, as much as you feel like they did something wrong to you, but also just putting yourself in their shoe to understand where they came from. Really improve your communication.
Just to add on that, or maybe just a different perspective, is that we need to learn to be sensitive.
Exactly.
To be sensitive of the other person. As much as we have a lot to say, as much as we have things we feel need to come out of us, we also need to think the other person has something to say. And they also have some feelings that are going in and around them.
Exactly.
And that is something you must consider first before you communicate. All right, it's not something you consider after you've dropped all the bombs you have.
Because once you take out the words, it's very hard to take them back.
Once they're out, they can never be recovered. So it is always important that you become very sensitive. Be very sensitive with what the other person feels and their current state, of situations. There are some good words you would say, but if you are not sensitive of the time, then they come out wrong.
True.
The saying goes that it's not all about what you say. It is also about how you say it. You see, it's the how. So if you are sensitive, you get to learn about the how. But if you are insensitive, you just learn about saying. You're just dropping the bombs carelessly. And over time you realize that it costs so much to have poor conversation, communication. Personally, I have lost many friends just because I couldn't take care of my words. And if I took care of my words, I was not sensitive to their situation or the timing. For example, you could want to tell someone that you love them or you care about them, but at the moment, whatever they are going through, that might look like a lie. You see?
Because of how you delivered.
Because of how you delivered and when it has been delivered.
Exactly.
And therefore, you really need to be sensitive. Think first about the other person even before you communicate to them.
So the other one is assumption. Don't assume anything. When you're communicating to somebody, don't assume. Like, you know, sometimes when you communicate with people or when you're talking, we always have this thing that we always say, but I thought you said, but I thought you meant this, but I thought, like, you always have your assumptions in your head.
Your assumptions already.
And that's why in your communication, always ask. Ask questions.
Ask questions.
Even in relationship, when you're dating with somebody before you get into marriage, ask questions. The hard questions. Why do you love me? Where are we headed? What's your plan? Like, never assume in your communication.
I think this is where most of people fail in dating.
Exactly.
Especially in dating. Just because the other person loves you or shows you affection, it is wrong to assume.
It's wrong. It's
so
wrong.
Much about them.
It's wrong.
It's wrong. Yes, they might be showing you some kind of action. Actually, there's a saying that says, don't mistake courtesy for love. Because people can be courteous and they just want to treat you well. They don't want to disrespect you. And then just because in yourself you feel like maybe you are crushing on them, you like them, you imagine or you assume that they are trying to reciprocate through their courtesy. And they're just trying to be courteous. So it is very key that you don't assume anything. And don't conclude anything that you have not been confirmed.
Exactly. Just to cut you short, this goes to ladies, especially to us, and I just want to say this for you guys to really think about it. Sometimes when it comes to relationship, when a guy is courting you, most of these guys have different ways of expressing their love to you. You know, there are some men who really express well with their action, and there are some men who really talks, right? So to understand their strength, their strength, where they come from, how they express their love, really helps you in knowing what they mean when they communicate. Right? Like, for example, for me, my husband will communicate with action. He will assume that you understand whatever he's saying.
The actions he's doing.
At first, I used to think that he doesn't love me because he never said some things, you know. But until I understand that for him, the action is what talks more for him, and he expects for you to understand, you know. So just knowing somebody's communication style, on how they express their feelings to you, you know, because we are born and raised differently. There are some people in their family, hugs was something that was very normal. So we interact, and for you, hugging people is just a normal thing. You go out with friends, you're hugging everybody, and because I don't understand that, I will assume that you love me.
This is an expression of love.
Because for me, hugging was something that was very
and for couples, only.
So you assume, this guy is communicating
love. He's trying to tell me, likes me.
And for him, even hugging is just greeting.
It's ordinary.
They hug anybody. As long as for them, they're greeting them, it's not a big deal to hug them. Right?
So don't assume.
Don't assume in your communication.
Try to assume.
The other thing I think that is the last one that I brought is being authentic in your communication.
Wow. This is a bomb.
Be true.
Be true. Well, I also, maybe just to attach it to something else, is that be sincere. Be sincere anytime you're communicating. You can be sincere. Being sincere does not necessarily mean you are being truthful. But you are sincere with yourself. Because I can share you information that I'm sincerely no, but if you check it, it's not correct.
Yeah.
But I sincerely said it to you. All right. Once you learn to be sincere with people, communication becomes easy. All right. But once you learn to be a pretender, you're trying to be something that you are not, or you're trying to communicate something that is against you and you cannot confirm it, the communication also becomes very hard for you. And people can read the energy.
Exactly.
People are able to read, because if you are unsure about something, you tend to pull your words, you tend to repeat yourself, you tend to say so many things that are outside, trying to affirm what you are saying. But when you are sincere, you just go directly to whatever you want to say, and you say it with the clarity you have.
Exactly.
All right. So it makes communication easier.
Very easy.
So be authentic.
Yeah, be authentic, because sometimes people do like lie, or they pretend.
Yeah, they're pretending.
And then it ends up to them putting on a specific like mask in their face, because they're not authentic to themselves.
Yeah.
And what is wrong with that is that you keep on putting this mask that is not your face, and you are it's a must for you to put that mask because that's what you presented.
Yes.
So just being authentic to yourself.
You have nothing to defend.
When we say be authentic, we're not saying being authentic to other people. Be authentic to yourself. Because when you're authentic to yourself, it helps you to be sincere. Like, for example, if we talk, I'm authentic to myself to know that there are some things I can't share with him, you know? And so when I talk to him, I talk to him. And when he asks me specific question, I'm authentic to myself and I'm authentic to him to say that, no, that conversation for now is not appropriate.
It's not, it's not right.
I'm not open to talking about that conversation.
Or you're not pretending to talk about it.
I'm not pretending. So
or trying to lie about it.
If you feel like somebody is trying to go in an area that you're not okay with, tell them, no, I'm not okay with this conversation, or this is not a good time to talk about this. Being authentic to yourself. Don't pretend like you're trying to satisfy the other person, but inside you feel like you're being pressured.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It will not end well, because there's a time when
eventually it comes out.
They'll ask some question that you're not ready to talk about, and you can burst and get angry, you know, and start being rude to the other person. So being authentic is something that you can put when you're trying to communicate with other people.
Yes.
Do you have anything to add?
I'll have a few points. Maybe the first point I'd like to add is read your audience. I think we make a big mistake to just talk and talk. And we are not looking at what effect
the recipients want from me.
Does what I'm saying
have on
affect
them?
What effect does it have on them? Because sometimes you might say something that is really hurting someone, and if you are careful, you'll notice that they are changing the sitting position. They are quite uncomfortable. The attitude has changed. And if you're just careless, you go on all the way to destroy even a relationship. So it is very keen that you read the audience, read the person, read the people you are talking to, and see what it is that you are trying to communicate. Right? Sometimes we are too fast. And people cannot understand you. They are trying to gather information, and you are not getting it. They are just spitting and spitting. And sometimes you are too slow. There was a time I was doing a Zoom call, and my mic was not working. And I'm there bursting myself and speaking and saying, and everyone is like, "Oh, what's happening?" And then I really didn't read their faces. But when I was taking water, when I was trying to take some water, I realized that these people were all staring. So I asked what's wrong, and then I just checked my mic. So I was telling them to unmute so they can communicate to me, only to find that my mic was the one was muted. And I had spoken for like 15 minutes.
Oh my God.
It's very important that you read the atmosphere, read what is happening. Sometimes you're speaking to a person and they are on the door. What does that tell you? This person is leaving. Be brief. Be brief. Don't give them a whole presentation. Try to do that. The other point maybe I could share is try to check on your vocabulary. This has been my personal struggle. I realized that there are certain people you communicate with, and if your language has a problem, you are not able to deliver
whatever you want to say.
Yeah, you can be honest, you can be sincere, be authentic, have all the factors ready, be prepared, but your language, you don't have a good understanding of the language you're trying to use. For example, in our countries, we have two languages. We have Swahili and we have English. Okay, and there's Sheng. So say for example, I'm trying to speak in Sheng. I myself am not good at it. So whatever I'll try to say, as much as it's true, it's authentic, it has all the right features, I will not be able to successfully communicate.
And even on that, sometimes when you talk about your vocabulary,
your mastery of language,
sometimes you can go to places where maybe you know how to speak English very well, but the people you're communicating to, they're not getting what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah, so sometimes when you go to places, understand which language is very reasonable for these people, or they can really understand
and
well.
At what level?
At what level,
Yeah, so these people understand.
Because sometimes when you talk too much English to people who don't understand English, they feel like you're
boasting.
Exactly. You're trying to show off.
You are trying to show off.
Yeah, so try to understand which vocabulary you're going to use at what specific time to who, you know, to which people, right? Yeah.
And maybe just another point to just is how do we measure? How do we measure between emotions and words? Because I've realized this to be a very great factor, especially in our business, when we are speaking. For example, I want to talk to someone about a death or maybe some kind of sickness. How do I master my words in terms of emotions? You see, words, they are like bullets. But it is the emotion that shoots the bullet. So the emotion you have determines how far your words go into someone's heart. All right?
Exactly.
So maybe, for example, I'm telling you something that is very important. It is very deep. So I need to measure what kind of emotion I put together with my words. All right? Because we have overstatements and understatements. For example, I'm just saying a regular thing and I'm shouting and and it doesn't make sense. And I'm saying something important and just talking flat. Oh, this is what it doesn't have that feeling that should impact someone. So it is always good to measure, what am I talking about? And how should I present it? What kind of emotion should I use? Imagine going to visit a sick person and you are shouting to them. You're shouting to them. It's like very unreasonable. Okay, whatever you might be saying might be correct and true and appreciated. But the emotion you put to it might make it lose the meaning. So it is important that we check the balance between emotions and the words. Emotions and the words. Whatever you're saying something important, be gentle, be careful, be slow, but be affirmative. Right? Whenever you're saying something that is just ordinary, let it just flow like it is.
True.
The last point, just maybe to conclude, is that I suggest that we be brief. Be brief. I found out that many people talk too much to say something so small.
They explain too much.
And you can tire people with a lot of sentences and paragraphs, something you could have said in one sentence. So one of the ways I've discovered that is best to learn how to be brief is just talk to children. Children do not have time to wait. They want you to tell them what you are telling them immediately, so they want to go run away and do everything they're doing.
True.
So when you should always learn to be brief. Be brief always. Not unless you are required to explain. Always try to be brief and direct to the point. Be brief and direct to the point.
And that is one of the things that were really my weakness. I used to explain too much, you know, and there's some people, like, we have to look at who we are talking to. There's some people who are interested in the details, like from A to Z, and there's some people who really want shorten the story. We finish. So really look at who you're talking
who
to.
you're talking to, the audience. Read the audience.
Yeah, and understand, are they the people who wants to know everything, or the people who wants to be summarized, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is what we wanted to share with you guys. And just to say that nobody is perfect, as we always say, and we keep on learning. So I hope the tips that we have given is going to help somebody in trying to, to learn how they're going to communicate to other people. And this topic is for everybody, in your business, at your workplace, in your marriage, your friendship, anybody. So I hope this conversation was good. And it's going to open up conversation at home as well about communication and how you're going to build communication,
how we can improve
to have good relationships.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think
for me, maybe just to add one point is that, as we said, that there is the art, there is the craft, there is the style of communication, but besides everything else, we have the heart. The intention, the purpose, the desire to communicate behind. That is what drives communication. So always maybe learn to harness the purpose, the key of the communication. Even if you miss on the style, at least don't miss on the heart of communication. If you speak from the heart, people will connect you from the heart. If you speak from the mouth, people will connect you from the mouth. And if you speak from the mind, people only connect with you from the mind. Therefore, change your communication, improve your communication, and build relationships.
And from us, bye-bye.
Adios.